This was definitely the harder day. Welcome to the Wandering Star Farmhouse. We are a small 6-acre homestead in East Central Indiana. My name is Jeanette and I live here with my husband and my 6 children, and we are just trying to carve out a life for us that's a little more sustainable, a little bit more hands-on, where we can step away a little bit from consumer culture and enjoy a little bit more the things that we just create with our own hands. About 1.5 years ago, we brought home 2 little piglets to join our homestead, and we have raised them here on our homestead on scraps from our kitchen and scraps from our garden. We have used them to drink up a lot of our extra milk from having our own milk cow, and all of the whey from cheese making and buttermilk from butter making, and turning all of that excess on our farm back into something good that is just as valuable for us to use. For a lot of different reasons, we decided to harvest our first pig about a month ago, just here on the farm. Go ahead and give it a try with butchering ourselves. So when you're going to be doing a home butchering, if you don't have a walk-in cooler, which we don't, what you have to do is wait until you're going to have a day and a night and a day that doesn't go above about 35 or 38 degrees. You don't actually have to hang it for 2 weeks or something like you do with a cow, but you do want at least that 24-hour period, because the cold helps to chill the meat and especially to chill the fat, because pig lard starts to turn liquid at room temperature, and that makes it really hard to go through the butchering process with the really soft, squishy pig. So the first day is the slaughter day. It's the day when you are going to kill the pig, drain the blood from the pig, and skin the pig, and theoretically hang the pig. This was definitely the harder day. We have dispatched a number of animals on our homestead in the past. We have a lot of experience with birds in particular, and we have also done a few rabbits, but this was our first time doing an animal quite this big. The killing is not fun. It's not an enjoyable part of the process, but it is a part of the process. But it didn't go smoothly for us. All of our research said that a 22 would be able to put down a pig, and a 22 did not put down our pig. But luckily the 22 didn't cause our pig distress either. But it was a little bit of a process to figure out how we were going to ultimately take care of this. But after killing the pig, we needed to drain the pig. Then we needed to skin the pig, and we thought we might be able to lift the pig with our hay pulley, but the pulley has enough force to lift the pig, but the hardware that had the pulley was attached to our barn was giving out. So we had to basically just kind of do it mostly on the ground. We couldn't lift the full weight of the pig off the ground, and just the whole combination of things, obviously our lack of experience, our lack of like the best setup possible, and the temperature just made it a really, really hard day. Like when it's freezing cold, it's freezing to you as well, and trying to work out there at this temperature was really a challenge. FYI, in case anyone's interested, what I ended up doing to be able to physically handle working out there with the pig was I put on, I have a thick pair of knit gloves to keep my hands warm, and then I put nitrile gloves over those, so rubber gloves over my knit gloves to keep me warm. It's a messy job. You need to have gloves on, but I needed to have warm gloves on. Once I got that system figured out, then I was able to work out there longer with Jeremy. It's just a slow process of skinning the pig, and we were trying to reserve as much of the lard as possible, because that is one of the benefits of a lard pig, of a homestead pig, is the great amount of lard that you can harvest from it. So it just took a good amount of time, and we were trying to keep the animal clean, trying to keep it on tarp so it's off the ground. It was a hard day, and it was not a fun day, and at the end of the day, Jeremy's asking me, what do you think? How do you feel about it? And I'm just like... The next day, Jeremy borrowed a skill saw from a friend, and he got the pig cut in half, and then we brought the halves in one at a time, and we worked on those. And I mean, from that point on, it was great, because it's just kitchen work at that point. I mean, it's a really big piece of meat, but it's just kitchen work at that point. So Jeremy and I are both comfortable in the kitchen. We're both familiar with kitchen work, and so that's what the rest of the process was. So Jeremy was cutting it into the different cuts, and like they're probably not the prettiest cuts that anyone ever came up with, but they are cuts of meat, and they're usable. And anything that you screw up, or if you leave too much behind, all of that can just go into the sausage making. So from that point on, I really was fine with the process, and it really went pretty smoothly. So Jeremy had bought a couple of boning knives and breaking knives, and his parents got him a nice knife for Christmas. And Jeremy has a hunting buddy who we borrowed a bunch of other supplies from. We borrowed a meat grinder from and a sausage stuffer from. So that was really nice that he had those supplies that we were able to borrow. The other supplies that we used were a vacuum sealer, and also just saran wrap and butcher paper for the larger cuts that wouldn't fit in the vacuum sealing packs. But we went ahead and ground up our own meat and seasoned it for bratwurst and breakfast sausage and Italian sausage, and got everything packaged up and put things in the freezer.
Here we see the chopped up herbs chunks that we've then put them through the grinder one time at the bigger die, and then we put it through a second time through the smaller die.
This is bacon that has been cured but not smoked. So we need to get together with someone that has a smoker and get our bacon smoked. But here is, let's see, this is all breakfast sausage. Same thing with the ham, cured but unsmoked. We've got all our bratwurst frozen in here. So down in here we also have, we have all the ham roasts and everything in here. We won't smoke them and then freeze them again. We'll just smoke them when we're ready to eat them. So we've been enjoying some of the fruits of our labors already. The bratwurst is amazing. I cut up one of the roasts and made some sweet and sour pork. I used some ground sausage to make bolognese sauce, and we're just really enjoying it. We're just really enjoying eating this food that that we created, that we were part of the process of putting this food on the table to feed our family. And it's a really great feeling. So going forward, How do we feel about the butchering process, and would we do it again? Well, the short answer is our second pig is leaving this morning on a trailer to head to the butcher's. But would we do it again? I think we'd do it again, especially if we maybe had some help the next time. Jeremy had a friend who has experience with butchering pigs on their homestead, but they were unavailable the weekend when we needed to do it. So all in all, the butchering, or the taking apart and piecing out of the two halves, chopping up all the excess meat and turning it into sausage, chopping up all the lard, melting it down in my roaster pan and straining that off into jars. The whole process of finishing up all the meat took about 2 whole weeks of work. So the biggest reason why we're sending the second pig to the butcher is that we just don't have the time right now to do it. That's kind of always one of the things you're up against as a small homestead. When your homestead is not financially supporting you, you have to find time to homestead when you're not at your full-time job. But there's definitely a good feeling from knowing that you can do this kind of thing yourself. The product may not be as pretty as what comes back from the butchers, but it's done, it's food, it's in the freezer. Thanks so much for following along. Let me know in the comments if you ever done anything like this. I'll see you on the next video.